What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Back in the garage again, working on the R1. As you saw in the last video, you can see we got our levers looking mint. Same with the other side. It's like polished, and we got the rear tail basically all set and good to go. We did get some goodies in the mail today, so let's take a look and see what we got. All right, guys, as you can see, I got a nice OEM side piece. This one was broken on the left side of the bike. The only really problem with this thing is that, it's got a little bit of a chip in the graphics, which is not a horrible deal, but you won't guess how much I got this for. So I got the fairing for $57 shipped to the house. This is a genuine OEM fairing from Yamaha, and it's in decent shape. It should clean up pretty good. I think what I might try to do is, since I have that old fairing that's cracked and has the same decals, I may actually try to cut out a little piece just like this from this part to try to match it to make it look better. So we may end up doing that. But overall, for $57 shipped to my house for an OEM panel that's in this type of shape, not bad at all. I mean, you could tell like these things, this thing was left outside for a little bit, so it did get a little bit rusty, but we can clean those up. Same with the bolt, a little bit rusty, and these are a little bit as well, but those will all clean up fine. The fairing should clean up very well, and like I said, the only thing we could try to work on is that part. But let's get this installed on the bike now. So we got the side fairing installed now. Looks so much better since it's not missing that big chunk out of there. So overall, not a bad purchase for that fairing. I should be able to clean up the fairing pretty good. So yeah, pretty pumped about this. We are going to take off the tank. We'll end up working on that, and we'll get into the air box. I'm actually going to do an oil change first before I start to take off the tanks. I do want to get some good fresh oil in here. I mean, the oil could have been changed recently, I'm not sure. But either way, we're going to put some good AMS oil in there. I'll show you which one that is. So I always run this stuff in the R1s, the AMS oil, 100% synthetic motorcycle oil. And this stuff has served me well for a long time. I've been running it in a lot of my bikes, especially the R1s, and it does seem to quiet down the engine a little bit. So this is some great stuff. I highly suggest it. All right, so we're gonna get the oil change done. We're gonna start the bike up, drain that out. As that's starting to drain, then we'll start to take off the tank. All right, so we got some in there, and we will pour a little decent amount into there and start turning it. So with the tool in here, it actually fits right between the headers. So you can put this on here and you can just snuggle up a bit. All right, so we have our oil all set. New oil's in there. She's filled up. That's all good to go. We got our OEM filter in there, which is all right here. OEM. So that's all set. I will bring this outside and I'm going to get some engine degreaser and clean up here just because it's a little bit dirty and I want to just scrub it and get it squeaky clean because the other side looks really good. It looks like someone used a little bit of polish on the header because it's got a little bit of some shine to it. So I think I may actually do that as well. I'll get the Powerball and I'll scrub some polish in here, clean up these things a little bit, just to make it look nice while we're down here. After I do that, then I'll start taking off the tank. All right, the bike is back on the lift. We dried her up a little bit. And look at how good this came out. Things like freaking brand new. Looks so good. There's a little bit that I gotta just clean up with the rag because it was a little excessive. But yeah, it came out really good. Yeah, just look at this side, guys. How much better did that come out? Holy crap. I mean, there's still some stuff on it, which I could probably clean up with a rag, but, you know, the way it was before compared to now, amazing. We already got the gas tank off, so now we're going to end up taking off this air box. We will end up checking out the filter, and then we will start getting into the carbs. I believe the pilot jets are a little bit dirty, and it could possibly need some new spark plugs, but we're not really sure. So let's start tearing into this thing. All right, what a mess. We do have the carbs off, and now we can access the bowls. You can see we have screws here, there, and there. It's 3 screws. So what I'll start doing is I will start to do one bowl at a time. I'll take it off, take out the main jet and the pilot jet, clean it out, and then I'll keep doing each carb. All right, so we got the carb bowl off on one of the carbs. We're gonna do one carb at a time. This is the main jet, and the one right over there, that is the pilot. These should be pretty easy to get out, and then we'll just end up spraying carb cleaner inside where the jets go. All right, so we are on the carbs. We're cleaning them. I already did this one. These bolts are a pain to get out, or at least they were on there. They were very tight, so I had to really put some muscle into it to get it out, but I got it out. I did notice that the air screw on this is about 2.5 turns out. Now, when I was reading the manual, it says 3 1/8 turn out. So this may affect performance a little bit. It does have just a slip-on, so I don't think I need to change the jetting at all, but we are gonna put it back to factory spec and hopefully it helps out. So I'm gonna start doing all these other ones. All right, we got 3 carbs down and 1 to go. These Phillips head screws, I really wish that they came with like Allen heads or something. They're just, these things were super tight. And the bottom ones on here, this one and this one, I cannot break it loose. So I'm gonna actually have to use the Dremel to cut it so I can make it into a flathead and do that. I did do it on one of the bolts over here. I'll show you. You can see that I used the Dremel to make a slot in it just so I could get a good size screwdriver in there to really get some power to crank it out, because these things were, I don't know if these bolts were ever taken out in the 23 years of this bike's life, but this, I couldn't get it out. I was stripping it out and I was pushing as hard as I can with the proper screwdriver as well, and like I said, this thing just stripped right out. So, but not a big deal, still usable. I didn't go through the bolt completely. You can see I went just enough so that I can get a good grip on it, and we'll do that on these bottom 2 bolts as well. Kind of a shame, but hey, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do to get stuff off. We got all 4 of the carbs cleaned, and the carbs should be all good to go now. We made sure that the air screws were all the same. I think it was not to factory spec, so some of them were close, but it seemed like some of them were off a little bit, so we made sure that they were all the same. So now we just need to go put this back into the boots and install it. Before I do that, under the rag, there is like, obviously where the carbs sit into, there is a part that clamps onto the carbs and another part that connects to like the block itself. We're gonna make sure that the part for the block is tight first before we do that, and then when we get the carbs back in, we'll make sure that these things are tight too, because they were not tight, which did not help the situation at all. So I just wanted to show you guys something over here. So as you can see, we're looking at the very right side where the carb goes into. Obviously the top clamp is loose because we loosened it to get up the carbs, but look at the bottom one over there. So that's supposed to be nice and tight. So if you're cleaning your carbs, make sure you check that bottom clamp, because that's going to hold the whole thing in place. So that needs to be nice and tight. And then obviously you'll loosen up the top ones as much as possible to put the carbs back in so it's easier. So this second one seems okay for the bottom one. The third one, it's hard to see, looks pretty good. And the last one over there for the bottom clip, it's not tight, so we're going to tighten those up. So it's just something to look into if you end up cleaning your carbs, is making sure that that bottom clamp is nice and tight. So we got the carbs into the carb boots. We are going to check to make sure that they are nice and flushed and pushed down. So you kind of got to get a light showing over there, and you got to kind of look right by the side of the frame over here. If we could focus, you can see that the carbs are all the way into the boot now, which is good. Now we just need to tighten down those clamps. The carbs are in nice and tight now, super solid. We got these things super tight, which is good. We shouldn't have any air leaks. This throttle position sensor plug, we will clean this along with the sensor as well. We'll spray some electrical cleaner in there just to clean it up a little bit. I don't think we have any issues with it, but we will just do that to clean it. It's always good if you're disconnecting any of these things, just to, you know, get a little click cleaner in there just to clean it up. So we'll do that. And then we're going to put the rubber boots back on the top, those 4 right there. So we'll start installing those. We got all 4 of these on now. Make sure that you line the notch up with this part that has the notch, and obviously this just goes on this part here. Make sure it's nice and tight and down when you're reinstalling them. All right, so that's going to do it for today's episode, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you guys stay tuned because we're going to go into the gas tank next. We're going to start getting that rust out of the top of it. We're going to try to do the best with that. We'll open up the air box and we'll do some other things on here. But make sure you guys stay tuned. We will do a little test run after we get the tank clean and we put it back together just to make sure that it's running in tip-top shape. And then after that, it should just be mostly cosmetic cleaning stuff. So the bike's almost done now for the most part, but we still may have some things to do. Obviously, the end goal will be get the bike to run like that 2001 model over there, which is running pristine. We have the Beamer over there, and the other Beamer is in another place right now. But I gotta tell you, man, these new S1000s are amazing. They're fast bikes. Like, I haven't rode it in a couple months, and I took this thing for a quick little highway burst today. Wow, amazing how fast these things are. Crazy. Definitely a big jump from these. And not that these bikes are not fun, but you know, when these things are only putting down 130, 140 tops, and you get a bike with 200 horsepower to the back tire, it's quite a difference. But don't get me wrong, these bikes are awesome, and there is a reason why I still have that bike right there and now this one. So newer is not always better, but there is a lot of cool stuff on the bikes. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.